big up, it's your boy, Mark and MUFC fan. Here's listen, welcome in to all the Man United fans of Deutsch. Your boy Mark and the Trini boy from DE is here to give you another update in the transfer window. Good afternoon, guten Abend. Was ist los mit dir? Big up to you guys. Hope you guys are having a great day. You know how it goes, guys. Always an interesting one to be had, always news to be talked about. And of course, big up to my brother GB in the building. I hope you are well. The transfer window has been taking a slightly more positive turn since we signed Mbumo, guys. And of course, we know Sesko is nearly on the way. There are reports that there could be an agreement between Leipzig and Man United. Of course, we know that they have already established 70 million mark as what was supposed to be the fee. Of course, the other day I had a typographical error in my thumbnail which said 55 plus 10, but it was really 65 plus 10. But the other five is not really something that I would say is necessary, but it would be an add-on. It's very difficult to achieve and should be what Leipzig is willing to accept. Man United have been given all the assurances that this is what the deal is going to be, and now the ball is in their court. How are they going to achieve the finances? Well, guys, there are reports that Garnacho could be heading out the door and Chelsea is coming knocking. There are other reasonable offers coming in. Napoli is feeling the punch because they were thinking about coming back in for Garnacho, and obviously now with Chelsea coming in with an offer, they are going to have to strike in soon. There's other interest also from Germany. As you know, Ten Hag has said there are no weapons, but also Leipzig has an interest in Garnacho as well. It all depends on what their offers will be to the player, and that is expected to come in tomorrow. Of course, we know Jadon Sancho should be receiving an offer. Of course, Dortmund is very interested in bringing him back after selling a couple of players this summer. And there are reports coming out of Germany that Sancho will accept less, just about half the wages earned. And he will be going to Dortmund. And he has spoken with the senior officials. They're saying that he's willing to accept 8 million euros per year from the BVB team. Now, I can say that's, you know, a strange situation that club brought him up at where he spent his best years playing football, in my honest opinion. Maybe it will be a good deal for the player. Maybe this will make things very quick and smooth. Big up to Abdullah Ilwan in the building as well. Hope you're well, broski. And yes, of course, GB, this is the hope. This is the dream. It's been 3 years coming. I've been talking about this guy since he's been at Salzburg. He's always been very interesting. And let's see what is going on. Like I was saying, Abdullah is here to confirm. Big up to my brethren for always having my back. Big up to you, guy in the building. Manchester United informed RB Leipzig today that they are prepared to send an official bid for Benjamin Sesko, and if the player accepts the destination, it's always going to be MUFC. We get him. Come on, says Abdullah in the building. And guys, my brother is in the background. He will be coming in shortly. I got a little bit more news to go through before I bring him in. Sancho is still here. How the mighty are fallen. Well, with the signing of Benjamin Sesko, the signing of Brian Umbremo, and the signing of Cunha, guys, these players are all feeling the punch. They are feeling the hurt, and some of them are wishing that they had made the decision Rashford has made to get the hell out of here as soon as they possibly could have this summer. As you know, some of these guys have not been allowed to train with the first team. They are not on the tour. And some of them are now feeling that pinch that says, hey, I need to get myself moving. If I want to play in my national team this World Cup qualifying, I'm going to have to be playing football. I can't afford to be sitting on the bench or in the stands watching my team play while I'm on, work vacation, to be honest. So it's going to be very interesting. The next week of transfers is set to be very, very busy for Manchester United. And while we are here, let's talk about some interesting stories. I know you guys have heard about Voltamade, and in Voltamade, interesting striker coming out from Stuttgart again. They have been producing some interesting talents. He's 23 years old, having a breakout season. He scores 17 goals. And it's very interesting because there are some reports that Manchester United it has an interest in this player as well. Now, I don't think that is anything to worry about. What I will say to you, it's a way we can put some pressure on Leipzig because he's also an alternative that Leipzig is having in store. So I think this is Man United applying some pressure on Leipzig to let them know, let's get this deal done and dusted. Let's move on to other things. And while I'm saying that, guys, I know you can see him on the thumbnail. And what I will say to you guys is contrary to what I said about the other goalkeeping option. And when I said the other goalkeeping option, big up to Frankie. Glory, glory, Man United CT in the building. Big up to Great One as well coming in. Yes, of course, that's this interested in Nick Voltamade is I would say is a smokescreen. But right now, I'm gonna talk about the interesting thing that's a dynamic that might make things take another twist in this transfer window. Now, yeah, up to yesterday, my information was that we have not made any formal approaches to Gianluigi Donnarumma. Well, maybe I was wrong, or maybe this morning there has been an approach that has been made. A discussion has been had, a question has been asked, and what I can say to you, there is a slim possibility that Man United might be able to make a situation be possible in the very last days of the window. Only way that will be possible, guys, well, contrary to what would happen if we were to be bringing in the youngster from Belgium, it doesn't matter if Onana goes or Onana stays. In this situation, it's certainly going to be a matter of course that Onana will have to leave for Donnarumma to come in. And this is where the difficulty lies. However, what I would say to you guys is seeing that United has asked the question, they have made an approach, and a discussion has been held. Maybe that signals a possibility that Onana could be warming up to the reason of leaving. That's the only thing I can come up with in my head, guys, because realistically, there have been no real reports around Onana other than some interest from Al Hilal in Saudi. And it was interesting. There's another Saudi team interested in him as well, a Qatari outfit as well, and an Italian team. Which of those teams? I'm not sure because what I know is a lot of reports was that he is not going anywhere. But interestingly enough, with the fact that this situation has happened, and it is true, there has been a discussion with Donnarumma's camp, there is a possibility that he might be leaving. Now, it's going to be interesting, guys. And what I can tell you is I won't get gas and I won't tell you to get gas. Let's sign Sesko. Let's confirm that. And then we could smile, we could laugh, we could have a few beers. And then let's see what happens in the following week because sales will be happening next week. I can guarantee you we will see 2 to 3 players leaving this club in the next 4 days. And why I say that is because there are 2 bids set to come in for Alejandro Garnacho, both of them seemingly meeting the requirements of Manchester United within the regions of 40 to 45 million pounds, and one set to be around 45 to 50 million, inclusive of add-ons. Man United is set to accept one of those bids. I can't say which one. I'm not too sure because guess what? It's not, I'm not certain if it's Napoli, but I can tell you one of those bids is coming from Chelsea. There's also other interest in the Premier League in young Garnacho, so it might end up to be in United's favor. And when I say this, it might have a little bit of a little battle because Spurs has interest as well as Aston Villa. And of course, Bournemouth might be coming in as a new favorite with some interest in the player because there's set to be some interest in their player, Semenyo, from another Premier League club and a club in France. So let's see what happens, guys, because this is set to be interesting. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one, but this will be very interesting, as you are saying here. It will be a big season for Mount Zirkzee, Martinez, Shaw, Mainoo. because if they don't play well, they will be going outgoings next season. Well, I think that's more in line with Mason Mount and Luke Shaw. To be honest, I don't think that is going to be anything to do with with Kobbie Mainoo. S- and I wasn't going to say this today. I was going to use this tomorrow. But since you guys are my people, you are my friends, like my family, you know what I mean? Shout out to each and every one of you tuning in right now. I'm going to tell you right now. Kobbie Mainoo is signing a new contract. I think it's going to keep him at the club for the next 10 years. It could be 5 to 7 years, could be around 10, something like that. But Kobbie Mainoo is about to be announced as signing a brand new contract by Manchester United. I'm not too sure if they were waiting on the third kit, but yeah, he has a new deal. He's not leaving. It's no way he's leaving right now unless someone probably triggers a release clause, which I have to do some research to see if it's actually in his contract. Because from what I've heard, yeah, the contract is already there. He just has to set a date to sign it. It's already agreed, all terms, all conditions. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that one. Unless some ridiculous bid comes in, Kobbie Mainoo's here to stay. Big up to Neil Driscoll in the building. I hope you're well, buddy. Yeah, great one. I was trying to sit on that one for a couple more days, but yeah, you guys are my people, so I can't not tell you about Mainu signing a new contract or Man United and Mainu agreeing to in full to a brand new contract. It's just something that it's a matter of time. I think I've heard someone else speak about this, but yeah, it's actually true. So that's going to be an interesting situation that's going to be announced very soon. We'll see where that takes us. Yeah. So that's mainly out of the way. What I would say about, a player, the other players that you mentioned there in Xerxes, I think Xerxes had a pretty decent second half of the season last season up until the injury. I think we can be saying more about Mason Mount having to have a big season because, yes, Xerxes kind of shown more than Mason Mount has given in 2 years at this club in 6 months. So it's going to be interesting. And of course, it's going to be competition. Everybody wants to play in the World Cup. It's the first installment of a 48 team World Cup. It's going to be taking place on a giant continent of North America, a tri nation tournament. Yeah, the first of its kind. There's so many firsts in this tournament. We'll be talking about that in a few weeks because, of course, everyone knows 2 weeks into September, it's the first international break. So, what we will do is we will have a World Cup stream where everyone could represent their national team or whichever team they support. And we will definitely have a discussion. I'll bring up all the slides on what the World Cup is about, where the teams are playing, what fans could expect. It's not going to be a difficult situation like most people are thinking. Most teams that are going to be playing in a specific city, they're going to play all their 3 games. They're going to play all their group games in that city. So you won't have to worry about going from one city to the next city to the next city. Nah, you're going to experience your full 3 games of the team that you support in whichever city they play their opening match. Now, where it gets different is that I'll just give this little bit of nugget. Mexico plays in Mexico. They are home nation in Mexico. USA plays in the USA. They are the home nation in the USA. Canada plays in Canada. So they are the home nation in Canada. So that's just where how 3 of the groups are going to be broken up and playing. And that's just a little bit on the World Cup. So, guys, it's going to be very interesting. And as you can see, a lot of players are fighting for competition. And yet, Neil, in my opinion, if you look at Xerxes as a number 10, I think you might start liking him before Christmas. You might even want to get him some gifts. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you now, if he comes in as a number 10 in this team in a couple in games, you are going to enjoy his performances and he is going to create a lot. So, yeah, as a striker, I don't really like him as well, Neil, to be honest. But if we're saying he's going to be playing as a number 10 behind the likes of a Sesko, yeah, we're gonna be shouting Zirksy because he's gonna be getting assists. Sesko is gonna be bagging goals. I promise you, bro. I promise you. Yeah. So that's the interesting one. So like we discussed Donnarumma, I discussed what Nick Woltemade, the 23-year-old German striker coming out of Stuttgart. Probably a smoke screen, but he's valued somewhere in the region of 40 million euros. So it's not really an expensive deal as well. Newcastle is set to be interested in this player as well. So, it might be a laugh at Newcastle, yeah, but let's see how it goes because, who laughs last, laugh best. Of course, we spoke on Benjamin Sesko and the possibility that there has been some form of agreement between Man United and Leipzig because United has sent them information that the official bid will land tomorrow morning. Big up to all of you guys tuning in, and like that's just a review. Of course, we will have some discussions about how you guys feel about these different situations happening right now. Of course, I haven't spoken about Anthony in a little while. There has been a bid from Al Nassr for Anthony. Of course, I don't think the player has accepted the bid. Of course, United did not reject it, so there's still rumors that the bid is open and on the table. So what I would say is, yeah, yeah, and yeah. Neil, I'm a huge Italy fan. I have all the kits for the World Cups that I've seen since I've been alive. You know what I mean? And I've seen couple, to be honest. So yeah, bro, I know how it is. I support Italy. My when I was growing up, my grandfather showed me a Betamax tape of an interesting player called Paolo Rossi, and the end is where you see me now. You know what I mean? It's shocking that I became a United fan when my favorite player back in those times was Paolo Rossi. You would think I'd be a Milan fan, but I do watch Milan sometimes. But United is where my heart is. Big up to everybody watching. Bro, we don't need you to buy a Tesco mall, bro. Yeah. Big up Abdullah. But it will be interesting, guys. There's a lot of interesting situations and possibilities right now. My also looking at a defensive midfielder, of course, the interesting targets. Brandon Wharton is a target out of Crystal Palace. Has a heavy, heavy fee, somewhere in the region of 80 million, and also Baliba, who also is in that region of a fee from Brighton and Hove Albion. It will be interesting though because Man United are interested in both players. I'm not too sure if there's a situation where we go for both player, one this year, one next year. I think it would be one or the other. So you guys debate in the chat. Let me know, who would you choose? Would it be Belieber or would it be Adam Wharton? That would be an interesting discussion to have because I'm not too sure how big United is going to go after a DM with the recent news of our discussions and our approach to Donnarumma. It will cost us somewhere in the region of 35 to 45, possibly with add-ons. Additionally, to land the likes of Gianluigi Donnarumma coming from PSG, because although they have signed a replacement, PSG, they are haters. They will want to sell us for as close to top dollar as possible. So it is where that is at there. You know what I mean? I would say Donnarumma is a very interesting option. Of course, Sen Lamens is also an interesting option as well, but I wouldn't mind having Donnarumma. You know what I mean? But I know he's not coming here to sit on the bench. So it would be the end of Onana. That would definitely have to be something that works like that. It's not a situation where we sign Donnarumma and you know Onana is going to be there, and if he flops, then Donnarumma gets a start. That's going to be really weird. You know what I mean? Big up to Isaac Jalal in the building. He thinks Amorim is planning to bring in the Morten Hulman from I believe he plays for Sweden. I'm not too sure if it's Denmark he plays for. I know it's Morten Hulman you're talking about, right? The DM from Sporting, but he's also valued at 80 million pounds. So it's gonna be a weird one, bro. You know what I mean? I don't think we're gonna spend 80 million pounds on a striker, two tens, and a DM all in the same season. That's gonna be one heavy toll, guys. That's 320 million on four players. Wowzers. You know what I mean? Donnaruma's in the building. Well, it could be something interesting, guys. And with Donnarumma, let's just say we sign Sesko, the deal all is official and in full and accepted tomorrow, and we were to sign Donnarumma as well. I would be thinking there's a possibility of top four, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna expect it. Like I'm not gonna talk about we have to or we must, but I'm gonna be hoping for it because with a better goalkeeper, we should at least be three or four, maybe even five places higher in the league. And that's just with a better goalkeeper. We changed our whole attack, guys. It's like we really rebuilding the squad this summer. You know what I mean? Dashes in the building. Will United sign a striker? Well, I was speaking about Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Sesko has officially conveyed to Leipzig that, they're going to send an official bid for Sesko tomorrow morning. So what I can tell you is that bid goes in, it's curtains for Newcastle. It means that, basically Leipzig will accept this deal because we have already hashed out the fees, the payment plan, what is going to happen. So basically, it should be a here we go bid, in my honest opinion, at this point. So it's going to be interesting. The Premier League, 100%. Well, Neil, definitely we're gonna need sales soon, and sales should be coming. I will give it one more go as a before I bring Bali Tech in to answer how he feels about all this news. But realistically, guys, there's just set to be two bids coming in from two separate clubs for Alejandro Garnacho tomorrow. There's also set to be some interesting developments around Jadon Sancho as BVB has certainly had able to convince him to come play for them for half his salary at somewhere in the region of 8 million euros per year. That's going to be interesting because he was set to go to Juventus. If this happens, I believe BVB will come in and it will be swift. German clubs really don't take too long in negotiations. And if they already have personal terms agreed with Jadon Sancho, I believe it would be simply to send an official bid of £27 million, 35 million euros in comparison, and he will be a Dortmund player once more. Of course, I'm not going to be too mad at that because we need the money. You know what I'm saying, guys? And he has not performed for us. So, no stress. Take the money. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Back to Dortmund. And of course, we will be using that money to sign Benjamin Sesko and move on to the defensive midfield area. That is the area of interest because I would certainly love to see Baliba in our midfield or maybe an Adam Wharton. So, guys, it's one of those interesting things. Of course, there's the smoke screen that's going on where people will be talking about Nick Woltemade, but I will assure you guys, United is about to drop that bid for Sesko. It should be accepted. That should be a very much soon. Here we go. I've been saying it. We could possibly sign him by Monday morning. I'm not expecting him to start against Fiorentina, but he should be ready for game week 2, if not game week 3, unless Amorim decides to start him earlier because he has completed his personal schedule in preparation to return to match fitness at Leipzig 2 weeks ago. Guys, welcome my brother Bali Tech to the building. I hope you guys got a lot of information there. We will also discuss a little bit about Kobbie Mainoo's new contract that will be announced sometime by Man United, but it's already ironed out and it's just to put pen to paper, which means he will not be leaving the club anytime soon. So, guys, let me welcome Bali to the stage. Broski.
Yo, yo, yo. First of all, I want to big up to everyone in the chat. Have no fear, Bally Tech is here. We are in the building. Second of all, obviously, I don't think you get enough respect, you know? Obviously, you've dropped the Sesko bomber, yeah? You told
Uh-huh.
everyone this one is definitely happening. And from what I can see, it looks like that is true. Like Sesko is the main target. A lot of content creators did not report this. Yeah. Now you're telling us a little sneak peek about Kobbie Mainoo signing a new deal. Yeah. I is a man that watches pretty much every single Manchester United channel. This is the first time I'm hearing this info. So if you haven't already, I beg you smash a like, yeah, and share this content out. I wouldn't be surprised if before you know it, other channels are now running with they heard that Kobbie Mainoo is gonna sign a new deal. But you guys know where you heard it first, right? So let's give Marken that respect.
Big up to the chat, big up to Bali Tech. Bro, we do it for the love, you know what I mean? Smash a like, it free, the content is free, guys. So y'all just smash a like and show, you know what I mean? It's all good. No problem. Yeah. What's interesting though, Bali Tech, is that man them we talked about Belieber 4 days ago being a possible target for Man United. Not that we interested, not that we had discussions or anything like this, but it seems that everyone is now having this debate as well. I think they're gonna the Donaruma thing. I'll be honest, you guys, I said yesterday I have no information that we spoke with Donnarumma, to be honest. So, like, when I found out, today, this morning, that, yeah, we did have a discussion, we did ask about his, terms and conditions, what it would take, what would be his package that would be acceptable or we could work on to bring him to the club. Now, it would have a second level means that we would have to negotiate a price and a fee with PSG. So we leave that one aside for now because I think we're moving from striker to defensive midfield. So let's focus on defensive midfield right now, guys. Yeah. So defensive midfield is the interesting part of this discussion right now because, I mean, I for one didn't expect Man United to be spending 60, 70, 67, 63, 75 and 73 million pounds on three players. Yeah. Now it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on within this midfield situation. We talked about Javi Guerra. That's a very, cheap signing, 25 million euros. Young player, 21 years old, plays for the Spanish national team. You could probably call him the captain of the team as well because he definitely is their talisman, but he might be staying in Spain for one more season. So this is where the possibility lies in United's looking to sign a player who's more ready right now. Here comes Adam Wharton. Here comes Baliba. There's also an option that plays in Italy. I believe it's for Udinese. I spoke about this guy very, very early in the window. I keep forgetting his name, but I would just say the player from Udinese in this current moment. Yeah, I believe he's 20, 25, 24, 25 years old. Very interesting player. What I can tell you about him and what I've heard and what I have seen, not that much, but I've heard a lot. He's very physical. He has a good engine, good on the ball, and one of those players that cleans up and mops up inside that midfield and makes it very difficult for teams to play their football. So that is all I can tell you about this player. Now, he would be on the lower scale of signing, but again, look at how Dorgu is performing. He certainly leveled up from last season, and you guys know I complained a lot about Dorgu. You know what I'm saying? So maybe this season I might have to put my hands up for Dorgu like I did for Ahmad last season. But we'll see how this goes. Bali, interesting things. Where do you see the midfield happening? Of course, we already have we all looking forward to Baliba or Wharton. But is there another midfielder that you see might be fitting into this midfield? Of course, I would say to everyone now, contrary to all reports, we have not made any approaches or had any discussions for Edison this summer. Last summer, we made inquiries. Last summer, we had a bid rejected. But this summer, we hadn't made any approaches.
I think for me, in terms of the midfield, obviously, if it was up to me, I'll be going for Belieber, no questions asked, no messing around. If it was like a dream midfield, then it would probably be like a Belieber, Wharton, or Hayden Hackney in the midfield. as far as I'm concerned. You in there, you got progressive passing, you got carries, you got through ball specialists, you got guys that can tackle, got work rate. So yeah, I would be looking at those three probably to come into my midfield. Um, I'm not. I would love to see the club spend this money, and we pretend like we're broke, and then Man United always find extra money inside of the couch. They're always finding money in the couch, and they've done this for the last 3 seasons, pretending they're broke, and then all of a sudden we spend north of 200 million. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. If they do sign a midfielder, please sign a quality midfielder. Because the issue that I'm gonna have now is if they are crap, then we're gonna want to send them back. You know?
Yeah, no. Like Isaac's Jalal saying here, he doesn't think Amorim will be thinking of any other DM other except the sporting guy, and by that guy he means Morten Humland. I'm not too sure whether he plays for Denmark or he plays for Sweden, but I know it's one of those two nations right there. I know they are neighbors, and I don't mean any offense to anyone. If anyone could correct me on which, because I'm not able to Google it right now as I'm on my phone, so it's a bit difficult for me. So apologize if anyone thinks I'm being offensive, but I'm not too sure where he plays. I know he plays for Sporting, and I know that's a player that they recently bought from Atalanta, and he's very, very interesting in that defensive midfield role. Gets forward well, very good at breaking up the play, can distribute a pass from deep. He can
But
also
he's not
carry the
cheap
ball
though, is
well.
he? He's not
Huh?
cheap though, is he? He's not cheap
Nah,
though, is he?
he's going to be somewhere around 70, 75 million pounds. I don't know if maybe there might be a long shot in a 60 million plus 10 deal or plus 5 deal, guaranteed 60 million. I don't know
If
if there
we
might be
if
a
we
long
got to
shot in
spend that
accepting
type of
that
cash,
deal. Huh?
if we got to spend that type of cash to get him, obviously no disrespect to him, he's definitely a good player. But I just think if we're gonna spend that sort of cash, then maybe we should go for a Wharton or a Belieber. That's just my personal thing. If we got to spend that type of cash, because now it's not like it's like go for Humeland if he's a deal, right? If you can
Mm.
get him if you can get him on the cheap, like maybe £40 million, £35 million, all right, cool, go for him. But when you start getting into the region of 70 million, that's when, for me, you have to start looking at the Whartons, the Believers, because ultimately these guys are Premier League proven. We see them week in, week out. They're not scared of the likes of Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool and other teams alike. They know how to play against them. They got the know-how, they got the ability, they got the physicality, and we know what they can do. And I'd rather pay a little bit more and go and get these man.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's Danish. Guys coming in with that Neil Driscoll, Isaac, and Ricardo Pereira, or Portuguese Magnifico from the chat. Big up to you, broski. Good to see you back. And yeah, it's gonna be an interesting situation, bro. Like, I think if we spending that kind of money, we might as well go big all the way. You know me, I'm that kind of guy. I rather we better we decide what we're gonna do in the next 2 to 3 seasons, bro, and we go. Because okay, I'm not going to underrate what Ollie Watkins does. Ollie Watkins can contribute 15 to 20 goals in a Man United side. But can he do that for the next 5 seasons? No, he can't. Or maybe he cannot. Maybe 2 seasons guaranteed. But then we had to spend another 50 to 100 million for a striker within 18 months. So it's one of those things, guys, where I feel like I like Morten Hulman. What I've heard from him, I've seen a little bit of him. I don't watch him that much. I'm a kind of guy that I would watch Benfica more or Porto more than I watch Sporting. Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Ronaldo fan, but Porto is a team where it had a former Trinidadian used to play at Porto. His name is Russell Latapi. He won a European Cup Winners' Cup with Porto. So it's one of those things where, for me, I support them. Yeah. So I just be honest. And It's just one of those things. So I could probably tell you more about Porto players. Samu is being linked with Newcastle as we speak. But to move on from that, it will be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, I hear about this midfield link that Man United has been scouting the last couple of days. There are reports that Amorim, one of the part of Amorim's team, has been suggesting this player to Amorim in the last couple of weeks for a midfield option. It will be interesting to see what happens there. At the same time, for me, in what we doing right now, I think certain areas of the pitch they might be looking at English Premier League proven first and foremost, and in other parts, maybe Amorim has a little bit more control to find a player from a wider pool. So let's see how it goes. Big up to you, and big up to Nero in the building. But I think it will be an interesting situation if we make a move for Belieber. I like Adam Wharton, but I just think that a guy like Belieber is so much more of a destroyer in that midfield, who also can carry the ball, also can win aerial duels. He looks like a giant guy, but he's only 5'10". So it's one of those things. I'm saying there. So Bali, now the
Yo,
question to you is: if we were to sign one of those three players, Lamine Kamara, let's just say, Adam Watson, because these three players would be players that would be coming to play football immediately, right? Or a
mhm.
believer. Which one do you think suits our midfield and currently with the players that we have in it best?
Saliba for sure. If he was to enter this midfield, yeah, I think our midfield will be transformed, like completely. Like, and the thing is, yeah, if we're just gonna go off pre-season, it looks like the team has fully bought into what the manager wants, right? Because I think that's what a manager needs in order to be successful at any club. The team need to buy into what the manager wants. So if they don't buy in straight away, and then you got like 50% of the club that haven't bought in, and then the only people that's actually bought in are the youngsters coming through and guys who've got a lack of experience, then the manager's going to be in trouble for sure.
100.
But if we were to sign Belieber, yeah, we're gonna be going places. I'm telling you this from now. We're definitely gonna be going places. You look at the midfield, maybe a Belieber can come in there. All right, cool. We're upgrading the goalkeeper. Next season we'll probably go and get a central centre back, a proper central centre back. Then you're looking at a team now that is the real Red Devils, yeah. When we come to other teams' houses, we'll do devilish things to them. We'll take the 3 points away from them, and we'll be snatching the title real soon if we carry on building the team in the fashion that we're supposed to be building it in. And hopefully, that 2028 fantasy, the pipe dream from the club, hopefully it can come true.
mean, I mean, it will be interesting. The only thing I really didn't like about the statement is the planning with Europa League qualifications every year. Like, bro, what are we? You know what I mean? You could tell me we planning to qualify for Champions League every year. I could accept that because it's Champions League. It's not like if the aim is still to win a trophy somewhere. Like I keep saying to everyone. You know, we might not be like this season. I do expect us to win the Prem. What I do expect us is to play our finals in either the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup this season. I expect us to get in one of those finals. That's just my honest opinion. Yeah. It could be the small cup, it could be the FA Cup. I don't care. But as long as we are not in form or going into a season where we can confidently say we could compete for for Premier League first place, then we have to be competing for all the cups, else that competitions that we playing in, whether
Quick
that includes
question.
Europe or not. That's just my standards for Man United. I just being honest.
Quick question. So if we sign your boy Sesko, what is an acceptable goal return for him and his price tag? What are you going to be satisfied with? where you say, do you know what? That is a good season. Or what is a good to fantastic season for the price tag? Forget about his age, just the price tag.
Just the price tag alone, he had to score at least 25 GA in total, at least 25. And I say
Okay.
GA because he does get GA, yeah. He's get assists, so I expect him. I would even go so far and say if we sign Benjamin Sesko because he playing ahead of Bruno Fernandes, Umbomo, and the likes of Matthias Cunha, I will expect Sesko to score no less than 30 goals this season in all competitions played. And when I say all competitions, English domestic cups and whatnot we playing in as well. Because I think this brother is prolific. I think he's borderline a generational striking talent. And I think he has a lot of pace, a lot of ability. He's one of his best things is not even a talent. It's just the fact that he has so much experience from playing the last 5 years at top flight and playing for the last 4 years in Champions League that I think he will read this game, read our players and what they're trying to do, and effectively execute as the striker playing ahead of them. So for me, I think we could be in for a hell of a surprise this season once we land Benjamin Sesko and add him to what we already have. And if we could add a amazing defensive midfielder or maybe just a Donnarumma, yeah, even if we don't add a DM, but we add Donnarumma, Onana goes, I think we definitely in a fight for somewhere above top eight, somewhere above there. It could even get thicker and stickier somewhere higher up, but we'll have to see how the season progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real. I think 30 might be a bit much, but if he does 20, um, and that's if he does 20, 25, then I'll be cool with it. Just because of his first season in the Premier League, first season in England where it's rough and ready. However, I do expect the likes of Bruno and Buemo, Cunha, and the wing backs to be supporting him, putting in the crosses, putting in the through balls, putting stuff on the plate for him, and also just giving him the ball in general because this guy can shoot from anywhere. So I expect goals to be flying in from all angles.
Bro, this guy is 6'5" and quicker with feet than Ollie Watkins was ever. Yeah, he is faster. I can't say a better dribbler, but he had quicker feet than Ollie Watkins, and he's 6'5". So this have a guy that could physically intimidate teams and impose himself in this grand sense of impose yourself on people. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. I think United making very good decisions in this transfer window in terms of the players that we focused on to sign to the club, like Mpumo, like Cunha. We sign when we secure Sesko, and if we were to bring in Donnarumma, I think this transfer window immediately becomes a 8 out of 10 for me. I don't know how other people would feel. I think if we get a defensive midfielder on top of that, a quality one, it could be a 8.5. But for me, rebuilding the attack where we was lacking goals is something that I think was most important, because realistically, I would say this, there are lots of players in various positions in midfield who I don't believe have given the best of themselves. Not just because last season we were poor as a team, we were going through transition to a new system, new style, new formation, but I think, they themselves mentally were not there in the grand sense or full sense. And I'm not making an excuse for them, but I'm just saying this season could be a season where we see top performances from a lot of players in this squad. Whoever remains in this squad at the end of the transfer window closing and who enters the squad, I think we could see holistically an improvement in performance, energy levels, and aggression and the way we approach games. And this may have a lot to do with the fact that it's a World Cup year. And all of these players will be wanting to play for their national teams in the World Cup. But what I can say to you guys, it also bodes well because this team will grow at a at an exponential rate this season. Yeah, like Bali Tech saying they buy into what the manager wants to do right at this point. It looks like that. With all this positive energy in the team, but Ricardo Makaleli was truly a different breed. And if I'm not mistaken, Makaleli was a twin. And people couldn't tell which one was better until, yeah, you know what I mean, for a long time, if I'm not mistaken. But it's interesting to see what it is. We should add at least 30, 40 goals this season with the players we have brought in and the players like a Sesko that we are looking to buy at the moment. Yeah, definitely so, Nikas. Definitely so, broski. Big up to you. Welcome to the stream. And like you were saying before, no chance we get Belieber. Brighton will want far too much. Now, that might be interesting because, as you know, Brighton has been not doing much business, and a lot of people are interested in some of their players. And they just, I think it might be interesting to see that maybe Brighton might be a club that might be interested in a player at Manchester United for whatever reason, shape, or form. So we might see some changes happening. Let's see how it goes. What I would say is, guys, keep it smooth, keep it classy. Don't stress too much. Pay attention to what everyone is saying because everybody has a little bit of truth in some things that they are saying. But remember, their stories have to make sense. So they can't come and say Monday we made a hijack deal for Victor Gyökeres at the price of £75 million and 250K per week. But then when we go to pay for a player who's £60 million and 150K for a week, it's too expensive. These things make things difficult to believe content creators in general. So, what I would tell you guys is always pay attention to the stories. Most stories have links, most stories have trails, and of course, people mention these nuggets in all their streams. So, you know what I mean? You know, so it's one of those things. And yeah, I mean, a lot of players and fans are not going to say height matters in football. It's football, it's about how good you are with the ball at your feet. But at the end of the day, if a guy is 22, 6'5", and as rapid as a guy who's 5'9" and as good with the ball at his feet as him as well, it kind of makes things a little bit of a cheat code. I just have to say it like that to be fair, because imagine Benjamin Sesko is like a striker version of Mason Greenwood. He can bang with his left, he can bang with his right, he can dribble you, he can cross over you. You know what I mean? He's very good in the air, and trust me, he's long. You see some of those goals that Haaland scored, and people are like, how did his foot get there? Well, that's the same thing they've been talking about Benjamin Sesko all season in Germany. I'm not the one to tell everyone go and check out his highlights and highlight reels, but if you can, check them out. You will not be disappointed. And I will say to you guys, don't forget to smash a like. 21 of you watching still. Maybe we can get to 40 likes today. Smash those likes, share it around, help the channel grow. On the road to 10K. Yes, we're not at 2K yet, but the aim is 10,000 subscribers, and only you guys could help us get there. Definitely, I think he kind of reminds me a little bit more of a David Villa, a tall version of a David Villa. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? So big up to you, bro. Maybe a Christian Vieri as well, because Christian Vieri was a striker who used to score goals from out of nowhere as well. So yeah, that's my input. But guys, have a great evening. It's been my presentation to you. Big up to Bali Tech for jumping in. Big up to Nero, Nick S, Isak as well. Big up to Great One as well in the chat. Big up to Ricardo Pereira, Neil Driscoll. Big up to all of you coming in. And of course, guys, keep it safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will be back tomorrow because it's Friday. And I expect to have some very, very interesting news for you tomorrow. And maybe we might be getting a here we go or a deal agreed confirmation of as the official bid goes in. So let me know if everything as I said happens, or you know what I mean. If you guys enjoy it, or if you guys have anything that you would like to change or would like to talk about. Of course, there will be a day every week from next week where we'll be doing a stream for the viewers where you guys choose the topics that we are discussing or what we are going to be streaming about. So big up to all of you. Have a great evening. Your boy Marken and Bali Tech is out.